All right, let's do this before I change my mind. It is Tuesday, April 28th. Start with the S&P. So moderate weakness, nothing of note really. I mean, also note that we held above a 10 MA. Today's candle is a hollow red reversal candle. You can actually see it's being masked by this little blue line, which was resistance last week, right? We see we had a little top last week. We broke above it on Friday. Tuesday had a new strike. Monday had a new strike high. We called back today, and we now have a hollow red reversal doji, which is bullish for Fed Day. Again, we are overbought. Well, we're borderline overbought, and at some point we're gonna break under the 10 MA. But the longer we take, it's gonna be harder to get down just a ceasefire gap. Look at the lower Bollinger is now at 64.68. That's gonna be another 34, 30 points higher tomorrow. So red gap, it's a distant memory. A ceasefire gap is gonna be a stretch, even if you give it like by mid-May. I could see ceasefire gap by mid-May. I mean, clearly not this week. Next week, probably no, not realistically, unless there's some crazy drama in the Middle East. But yeah, still short-term bullish. Momentum is weakening though, 7 days down, and momentum prone to turning negative on either Monday or Tuesday. Now things might get interesting next week, but for now, still leaning bullish. VIX, again, nothing bullish there, right? I mean, a little bounce in the morning, 1891 or so, and then settled red. And momentum is slightly ticking higher. Probably going to turn positive next Monday, Tuesday. Let's jump to some individual stocks. Apple's up 1.2%, helped by a upgrade by UBS. Of course, there are some people out there buying ahead of earnings, which are due Thursday after hours. Uh, Monday's candle was a hollow red reversal that played out. Today's candle is actually black, so that's bearish for part of Wednesday. Doesn't mean Wednesday's got to open red, but in theory, Apple should be red at some point tomorrow. I will note we've seen a couple of black candles in the last 4 days. Moving on. Again, I'm going to skip through some of these. I don't have all day. Yeah, rough day for the miners. Agnico Eagle Mines down 4.5%. Not great. There is structure of a head and shoulders, but I deleted it because I just didn't like this bit under here. If this was above here, we've had a hell of a neckline around there, but I don't know. It is a head and shoulders though. It's just a bit of a skewy one. I guess you could argue. I mean, really could draw a line down to about. But again, if you break under the 200-day, that would merit alarm bells. Anyway, bearish the miners. American Eagle struggling. That's a bearish engulfing candle. Not great. First Majestic Silver down almost 5%. That's not pretty. If I don't do it now, when am I going to do it? I need to clean this chart up. Let's get rid of all this junk at the bottom. I mean, really. Look at it all. It's all got to go. It's all been skewed by stuff. We don't need any of this. We'll get rid of that. That'll do. You could even argue there's a head and shoulders here as well, but it ain't bullish, is it? Moving on. Hmm. Sorry, I just noticed something. AMD, down 3.4%, hollow red reversal candle. Do we care? Not really. Um, Actually, it's bullish for Wednesday. We're not gonna care about that though, are we? Get rid of that. Amazon, hollow red reversal candle, bullish for Wednesday. I don't know. I mean, the fact that we decisively took out broke a new historic high on Friday. I mean, it's a reversal candle on support, so in theory, net bullish earnings. Actually, earnings are due Wednesday, right? Wednesday after hours. Look at the old ceasefire gap down here, huh? Look at that. See how far down that is now. It's almost, that's roughly 60, $40 down, which is 15 odd percent. American Express down 0.9. Yeah, it's still kind of holding above the 50-day though. Barrick Mining, again, just lower the sector. This is another one that he's cleaning up. It's so hard to find the time to get around doing this. It's like, oh my God, when am I gonna do this? I don't care about any. We'll leave that a little bit on, but look, lower highs, lower lows, right? And look at where it's stalled as well. Look at that. Look at where it failed at the 50-day. Now you can say it bounced from the 200-day. So whichever way it breaks, bullish above the 50-day, bearish under the 200-day. I gotta think it's gonna break. I think it's gonna break to the lower side. Boeing down 0.3. There was some order news today. Was it 60 planes, 60, 70, 737 Maxes for Panama. You know, they're getting the orders. They're doing all right. Bank of America, that is a black candle. That's bearish for Wednesday. BlackRock. Again, look, despite the main market, this is distinct. It's been stuck for 2 weeks now. That's a short, right? This is a short trade here. From BlackRock to Blackstone. Held up a bit better, up 1%. Did it get? That's all right. It's bullish for a little bit of Wednesday. Caterpillar, a third day down, but again, look at this. 3 days down out of all of this. It's trivial. There's a ceasefire gap, which we'll keep an eye on that. Kamiko down 5%. Yeah, not great. Carnival down 1.7. See the ceasefire gap here is being filled already. Cleveland Cliffs back down. You note yesterday's candle was spiky, so that played out. Coinbase down 1% because of crypto. Today's candle was a reversal, so that's bullish. Decker's weak, but broadly it's all chop. Disney, of course, there was an interesting scandal about Kimmel's comments, and ABC is under pressure by the FCC. Disney is pushing back. But anyway, I mean, if you're bullish, you could argue this is a bull flag, but it's getting a little bit long. You need to hold this threshold, which is massively important, right? Also, note the 50-day. The 50-day is here. Threshold is here. I don't like the mouse. Energy transfer up with oil. Ford, a little bit weak. Freeport Mac ran down almost 4%. Not great. Google down 0.16%, which was probably a reversal, right? Yeah, that's a reversal candle. That leans bullish. Earnings are due Wednesday after hours, so they should be fine. Home Depot down 1%. Today's candle is bearish engulfing. Not great, right? Got to be bearish retail. Little Heckler down 4%. I need to clean up this one as well. It's just all this stuff at the bottom. It's got to go. Yeah. I love the company. Silver miners are great, but no, I can't be buying that. I'm looking at it. It's down. It's roughly down. Think about this. The S&P is at 7,100, but the silver miners have been cut in half already. I mean, if the main market has another major wave down, Heckler's got to go back to $5, which is 65 to 70% down from where it currently is. And that would be like a 80. To get back to the fives would be like a drop of 80, I want to be that 85% or so. The Intel down 0.5%. Today's candle is a reversal. That's bullish for Fed day. Joby down 1%. That's a weird candle from JP Morgan. Anyway, it's not bullish, but the KKR was up 0.7. That is a black candle. So yesterday's candle was a reversal. Today's candle is a opposite reversal. It's bearish for Wednesday. Kinder Morgan high with oil. Don't care about Cree. McDonald's up 0.7%. Today's candle is not black. It looks black, but it's not. It's a net positive candle, and we do have an upside gap to around 300. Earnings are due next Thursday, I think. But yeah, I'm starting to track McDonald's now because I'm interested in perhaps shorting a restaurant. Carver comes to mind. Texas Roadhouse, Wendy's, Shake Shack. What's the other one? Oh yeah, Cracker Barrel. But I could just short them via McDonald's, which has better. Certainly in the options world, um, most of those little restaurants don't have great liquidity. But if you want to, you could short them indirectly via shorting McDonald's. I'm thinking about it. I'm not in a hurry, but you know, consumers are cutting back. I don't know. Earnings are due Wednesday after hours, which should be fine. We are stuck at the 200-day though. MP Materials down 5. Microsoft up a solid 1%. Look at how it's been holding the 10 MA there. That's impressive, right? You got to think we're 429. Earnings on Wednesday after hours should be fine. Natural tag would be 438 minimum. Could even go to the 200-day. I don't think it's going to be able to break and hold above this. So if you want to short it, you're going to be waiting for post earnings like early Thursday. Micron down almost 4%. That is a reversal candle though, which leans bullish for Wednesday. Netflix had a reasonable day, up 1%. Another little baby hammer candle. Again, the problem is could be after the Fed, the main market is going to be inclined to roll over next week. So we might get a day or two up and then roll over, and then the natural target would be this gap around $80. I mean, yeah, there's a valid short there. Again, I'm not doing it, but Nike down 0.25%. Chop, chop, chop. Again, the real issue is it's going to get kicked out of a Dow. I don't know when that's going to happen. Could be next week, could be next month, could be not until the end of the year. But it's got to get the kick. That's a given. That's an easy prediction. Nvidia, king of techland, down 1.6%, but that is a reversal candle. Bullish at least for part of Wednesday. Ondas down 4, mostly chopped though broadly. The Oracle was down 7% in pre-market, settled down 4. That's a reversal candle from red gap, bullish for part of Wednesday. Broadly, I think this stock is a 0. Yeah, I said 0. Oxy up 2% because of oil. Pan American down 5%. Again, these lousy silver miners, you could even kind of draw head and shoulders there. But really, if you lose the 200-day, then you got to go down to 32, which is $22 down. That's 44% or so. That would be bad. Palantir down 1%. PayPal. Michael Berry bought that last Friday. Good luck with that. Redcap down 3%, testing with 200-day. Fine little company, but again, if the main market rolls over, this is a $7 stock again. Highly likely. Transocean up 4% because of oil. Rocket Lab down 4%. SMR down 6. Lousy. Target down 2. That's a bearish engulfing candle. Tesla down 0.7. That is a reversal candle. That is bullish for Wednesday. Don't care about take 2. United Airlines down 1.6% because of oil. Again, if oil goes up, airlines down. That is not a reversal candle. But I'm going to imagine it's going to be up a little bit at some point on Wednesday. Don't care about that one. United Health up 3.5%. New cycle high. That's interesting. We do have 2 downside gaps. This one here, which I probably should mark on. I'm not going to do it now. I'm tired. UPS had a weird candle. That is not a reversal candle. You can see though they're trying to spike it from around the 50-day. Earnings were mixed. They're still profitable. They're making roughly $4 EPS a year, but year-over-year revenue was down like 1.5% or so. Not good. Bad sign for the underlying economy. And finally, Exxon up 1.6. That's a black candle. That's bearish for Wednesday. All right, let's jump to gold, silver, and oil. Now, I will say again, so we had some good news in from stock charts in early morning. They are now doing live charts, live intraday charts for gold, silver, and oil. So that issue, I've been hoping for that for years. I will occasionally still highlight GLD and SLV, but my default would be to highlight the commodity. So gold, you look at these gigantic wedge there, more of a tight wedge here, which still also played out. You got to wonder if a 200-day gets taken out, then next support is around 3,500, which I think is coming. Note that momentum turned negative today. So gold was officially down $89, 1.9%. I'm just noting the fact that it says 5:23 p.m. and I'm wondering if the price has got to change. The candles aren't changing, but I think they offer overnight quotes. Probably now. Anyway, bearish gold still broken. So let's have a look at silver. So silver's officially down $2.44, 3.2%. Structure's kind of similar to gold. I guess I could draw some kind of pennant there, but this one's much more tight. Look at this tight range there, and then it broke last week. Not great, huh? $73. Take out the 200-day at 61. Then you're looking at $50. Momentum did turn negative today. Not great. Nat gas, wasn't planning on looking at that, but what's nat gas? Down 5 cents at 1.9%, 1.9% at 268. Yesterday's black candle played out. I mean, this is cheap. This is hella cheap. We're on the low end. Also note that that big black candle marking a massive short-term high, which played out for a couple of months. Anyway, oil. Again, we have oil charts during the day on stock charts now. Interesting. Today's candle was a little bit spiky on the upper side. We officially settled up 321, 3.3%, 99.58. So not a black candle. Momentum is still ticking up, prone to turning positive tomorrow. Again, as someone who's not on the oil train, I didn't buy today. I sold at the Monday open for a couple of gains. Can't complain, but you know, we're now up for the for 6 next net weekly gain, net daily gain of 7. Of course, we do have this big old upside gap from early April, and that starts around what? What does that start around with? 108. So you could argue there's a good $8 upside here to green gap. right? That's 8%. There's a good trade opportunity. I don't know whether it's going to be. I think this is going to be either tagged before the weekend or just after the weekend. But I think that's an easy target. Again, there's no guarantees, but the trend is there. Go back to oil, but on a USO chart. So you see, we tagged that gap. Actually, the other gap on on WTIC doesn't show up on here because of it includes overnight action. But USO was officially up 3.6%. Momentum did settle positive in this one. If we go back to an hourly chart, price action, we gapped up and then kind of churned around for the whole day. We now have two minor downside gaps. Again, not all gaps get filled. This orange gap hasn't been filled, or never mind, or even tagged. So I thought maybe we'd come down to here. Maybe worst case would, because I was worried last Friday. If I bought here, which I did, I bought twice on those two little spikes. Right. I was worried that worst case we come down to orange gap before we go up, but now we're just kind of clawing upwards again. So I'm gonna hope that early Wednesday we can cool back early morning, so I can buy back in the morning, and then hold into Thursday. Again, a cooling wave might drag out into Thursday, but look at that. Momentum is marginally net positive, just like last Thursday. I want to be buying when the MACD cycle is around here. So I want to see some cooling early Thursday to around that, and then I'm a buyer. It doesn't mean it can't be down here on Thursday. If Trump or Iran was to announce, hey, we're going to have a round of discussions in May, oil could easily drop down to on a cycle basis down to here. I mean, lower Bollinger offers 128s. So we have two downside gaps tomorrow. But I should be buying. I should be buying on any drop. Again, note the most recent two drops. One was a couple of weeks ago here. RSI was oversold. Then we had this opening drop on the 8th where we had a reversal candle. We did have a black candle there, which is where I sold. I sold there, right on that top. That was a good trade. I've had some good trades recently. But yeah, I need to get back on board the oil train. So I'm just trying to be patient and let the market, have a cooling wave. On a 15-minute today, you can actually see the opening candle was black. So if I was long yesterday, which of course I wasn't, I would have sold at the open. There's no question I would have sold on that black candle. Of course, we did go up a little bit higher. Then we had a double. We do have a double top on a 15-minute chart from 140. But, maybe it gets taken out tomorrow. I don't know. I'm hoping not. Again, the problem I see is that cyclically on a 15-minute, we're on the low end already. See, there's the high end in the morning, and then we cooled back across the day. So my hope is that what happens on the 24th, where we're on the low end here, and then on the next day we drop. Actually, on that day that wasn't the open, was it? That was intraday. Okay, that was an intraday drop, which is kind of unusual, sort of. But anyway, we might. My best hope is that I can buy on a drop tomorrow morning from here, and up we go into Thursday. All right. Anything else, is there? Not really. I mean, look, tomorrow's gonna be a hella busy day. We got huge earnings: Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Meta, Ford, Chipotle, just Qualcomm. Huge number of names. We've got earnings. I mean, other economic data. We also have a Fed day, but we know Powell's not going to change rates. It'll be interesting because it will be Powell's last press conference as Fed chair. Of course, Walsh will be doing his first uh, Fed in mid-June. I forget the date. Sometime in mid-June. Um, it'll be interesting. I think tomorrow's going to see initial upside. My guess would be initial upside with lower oil, and then churning around into the Fed, and then maybe cooling back on the Fed. I think Wednesday's going to be down. Maybe not significantly, but I think it'll be a red first Wednesday at the close. And Thursday has a propensity to open red as well. So if I do buy oil tomorrow, my aim would be to hold it into Thursday and then sell on any gap higher. So there you go. That's my plan. Always subject to change, right? Depending on what the price action is. If we gap up, if oil gaps up tomorrow, I ain't chasing it. No way. I'll have to wait for a cooling wave. I have to wait until next week. I will wait until next week. I'm not chasing higher. No way. Not least when the charts are kind of on the high end. Anyway, I wish you a good evening and have a good Fed day. Good night.